Hey, fellow babies, welcome back to Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. If you're watching this real time, it's because you're a Patreon patron, and we thank you for your contributions. If you're watching on YouTube as a subscriber, you're also getting it real time. Thank you. If you can remember to do this, follow the instructions in the show description and link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account. We get paid a couple bucks a month for that, so please remember to renew that subscription. It costs you nothing. It's one of the perks you get for being an Amazon Prime subscriber. If you aren't contributing to us in any way, you're just a slug, you have no money, and you don't care, at least follow Shane and me on Twitter. I'm at Michael Pachter, and I am at Michael Pachter, and he is at Dinfire, and you can also follow at Sifted Games. Today's question from Sifted from James Hilt. Marvel's Avengers was just released for Game Pass subscribers about 13 months after its original launch date. How long should third-party developers wait to release games on subscription services? If they don't wait long enough, how much revenue do you think they will lose to subscribers willing to wait? Do the service providers completely make up for the lost revenue? A really great question. There isn't a single answer for all games, but the analogy is to film. And back when movies first started to come out on other formats other than in the theater, which was television, the window was 14 years. Don't ask me where it came from. It was 14 years. And although that window has collapsed a little bit since, I can tell you that the movie Titanic came out in 1997 in the theater, and its global commercial broadcast television debut was 2011, 14 years. So as of 10 years ago, they still had a 14-year window. I believe it's actually collapsed a bit since. As different ways to deliver movies came about, so we got first VHS tapes and then DVR, sales and rental. That window shrunk to about a year, and so movies didn't come out on VHS or DVD for about a year. And as we got premium services like HBO, the window shrunk to about 9 months. And then as we got, any window later, like there would be TNT or TBS or specialty cable channels might, have like AMC, might have Movies USA Network 2 years later, so after HBO. But then you start seeing the streaming window, and by that I mean not streaming Netflix, but the video on demand pay-per-view window. The opportunity to watch a movie on demand when you felt like it. That moved first to about 6 months, then it shrunk to about 4.5. The last few years, it's been 105 days, so 3.5 months. And during COVID, it's moved all over the place from day and date. So you were able to see Wonder Woman day and date when it came out in the theaters, and I don't think it actually released in the theaters, but all the Warner Brothers movies have been released. The Suicide Squad came out day and date. What's in the theaters now? Warner Brothers, I forgot. Anyway, there's something playing right now that's the same. So the windows have moved all over. Universal went to 17 days, which means from Friday when theatrical debut through the following Monday, 3 weekends later. It didn't show up on pay-per-view or VOD, but now it is. Disney just announced they're going back to 45 days, so the windows are moving because of COVID. But the truth is that movie studios have learned that theatrical exhibition makes all of its money in roughly 3 or 4 weeks. So they're willing to go to 45 days. Video games aren't the same. It's not quite that compressed. A year for a normal game, let's say a game that comes out every year, like Call of Duty or like Madden football or FIFA, those games probably do have a life cycle where you get about 90+% of sales in the first 12 months. Madden 20 is in the bargain bin when Madden 21 comes out. And, Call of Duty Black Ops 1 was in the bargain bin when Black Ops 2 came out. I shouldn't use that one. World War 2 or whatever the next one was came out. So they tend to drop the price to about $20, and they don't sell that many units. But I think that we're seeing extension of some brands like Call of Duty because of Warzone and because of Call of Duty Mobile. You're bringing in new players who really might say, so I heard, Black Ops Cold War is the best in the thing, and maybe Vanguard gets 5 points lower Metacritic review, and they may still want to buy that as their first try. And I have to say, you're getting all these remastered now. Everybody's doing remastered Modern Warfare, remastered Black Ops. So you never really know how long the life is. I would say 13 months is actually really short, but that game perhaps just didn't have good enough sales that anybody really cared. My guess is that Game Pass paid them a lot, paid them the equivalent of probably 2 or 3 million units, probably paid them $100 million to get the game on the Game Pass system. And my guess is that it's a minimum guarantee against usage. So the way Game Pass works, the publishers get a percentage of revenue from Game Pass. So I think the number is 65%. It could be 70. The 70-30 rule that Xbox, if you download a game, the publisher gets 70. On Game Pass, I think it's probably more like 65, but it's still a meaningful percentage gets paid out. Now, Microsoft, if it's a Microsoft first-party game, they keep that 65%. But let's just pretend that Marvel's Avengers gets 5% of all the eyeballs on Game Pass for a given year, let's say. And let's pretend Microsoft, generates $1 billion in revenue from Game Pass, and I should have used a bigger number, $1 billion, and pays out $650 million. So 5% of 650 is $33 million, $32.5 million. So that's how much they would pay out for that game. 5% eyeballs, 650 payout, they get 5%. If they give them a $100 million guarantee, it might take 3 or 4 years to earn that out, but that's probably going to offset sales to the Game Pass audience. It's not going to hurt sales to people who aren't on Game Pass. So if the game is available for $20, then people will be able to continue to buy it if they're not Game Pass members. I think Microsoft's goal is to get everybody to be a Game Pass member. So it's a trade-off. And when I brought up the movie analogy, the movie business has been doing this since television was invented, since the late 1940s. And those windows, VHS came out in the 70s and DVD came out in the 90s, and pay-per-view started in the 90s and turned into VOD in the 2000s, and then streaming video on demand, Netflix type services started in the 2010s. So realistically, the game business is collapsing that whole history into a few years, and I think people are going to experiment. So one interesting factoid, there are no Activision games on Game Pass, and I don't know if there ever will be. Activision just thinks this destroys sales. When you get a Take-Two game on Game Pass, it's a limited window. So GTA was on there, and when I say it was on there, it's on there in 2020, and it was 7 years old, GTA 5. So a 7-year-old game, and it was a 3-month window. So they'll put it on for a little bit. GTA Resurrected, I think, was supposed to be on Game Pass this fall, but it's obviously not coming out. But again, limited window. So, I think that you'll see studios experiment, publishers experiment, and they're going to experiment and see what happens to sales. And if they lose sales of GTA, an 8-year-old game now for 3 months, they'll tough it out. They'll figure, and then that will go into their thinking on how to price it for the next time. So, the idea is that it's a lot of give and take right now. It is a seller's market. Microsoft wants content, and they have a lot of money, and so I think they probably paid up for Marvel's Avengers. Anyway, do they completely make up? You'll never know what the lost revenue is, so everybody's got to guess. It's negotiated, and whatever Microsoft's able to negotiate is what happens. Thanks for joining us on Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. Again, if you are watching this real time, it's because you're a Patreon patron. We thank you. It's because you are a YouTube subscriber. We thank you for that. Do the Amazon Prime guys get it real time? They don't. They do? Yeah, if you link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account, you're getting this real time, and it costs you nothing. So that's actually the cheapest, smartest thing to do. And I think Twitch probably will let you use your parents' account if you're, even if you're like me, you're in your 60s living at home. living with your parents. I'm definitely living on some of my parents' money. They left me a little tiny bit of money. In any case, just do the best you can to get us paid, because Shane is struggling along through COVID. Nothing better to do than that. And have you noticed the quality of product on SIFTD has gotten really good lately? So make sure that you do everything you can to get us paid. Amazon Prime linked to Twitch Prime is the fastest, easiest way. If you don't have an Amazon Prime account and you just can't deal with helping us out on the other two, then you're watching a week late, because I don't get paid, so I insist that everybody get access to the Pachter 11 for free. So follow me on Twitter at Michael Pachter. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.